you don't get a second chance to make a first good impression. And even though we all have to spend a little bit more time at home, we still have to interact with our friends, colleagues, and customers. Now, you can dress for success all you want, but if your image looks this bad, it's going to be really, really hard to make that first good impression. So today, we are going to find out how we can use the Sony A6400, turn it into a webcam, so that we can turn this hot mess into a much more pleasing professional image. Want to make yourself look better on Skype calls? Hire a fitness model to stand in for you. Hello, I am Andre Correa, and this is Andre Correa Now, a show about the art of filmmaking, the craft behind it, and the technologies that make it all possible. Let's all admit one thing: webcams suck. They can expose, they have no low light capability, and they do have what looks like the dynamic range of 2 stops. When I was researching how to turn my A6400 into a webcam, I came up with 2 major conclusions. One, I would have to get additional software, which some of it was in beta and none of it worked for the Mac, or I would have to buy a overly priced video caption card that wouldn't ship into 2039. That is until I found this little beast of many names. A video caption card that takes a 4K signal, has very low latency, and is ready to ship. So what is the name of this magical device that's gonna make me look beautiful on Skype and FaceTime? Who knows? Every Richard and Henry is selling it online under a different name, but as far as I can tell, it all comes from the same skillfully staffed, well-ventilated, state-of-the-art facility in China. The box gets a 10 out of 10 for me for blandness and lack of imagination. Even my 9th grade algebra teacher couldn't make this thing more boring if he tried. It comes with instructions, so yeah, whatever. Capture card itself seems pretty solid. Again, no thrills here, but it is made out of metal and it does the job. To make all this work, you will need an HDMI cable. In my case, an HDMI to micro HDMI. So check your camera to confirm what kind of ports you have before buying. If you have a post-2015 MacBook Pro, you will also need an adapter. I also recommend this Manfrotto tripod so you can place your camera as close to the laptop's webcam as possible. That way, you can keep somewhat of an accurate eye line with whomever you are interacting with. All the affiliate links will be posted below, and when you use them to make a purchase, you'll be automatically supporting the growth of this channel. Speaking of supporting the growth of this channel, can you please do me a huge favor? That helps a lot. Thanks. I knew that you were gonna be the one who did it. So they told me you were not gonna do it, but I knew. But anyways, let's get back to work. On your A6400, we're gonna go into menu. Then we're gonna scroll down all the way down to the yellow briefcase. Come down a little bit, and then we're gonna go into 4/7, which is the setup for menu. Under HDMI settings, we're going to make sure the HDMI resolution is set to auto, and then on the 24p/60p, we are going to make sure this is set up for 24 frames a second so that the FaceTime and Skype calls can look very cinematic. Now, I will say one thing: if you're going to be doing screen recording, that is the only time that you may want to leave this as 60 frames per second, because I am using QuickTime and that uses 60 frames a second recording, so that might be better. But other than that, you may want to leave this at 24 frames a second. Next, connect the full HDMI end of the cable into the capture card, and then connect the card into the computer. Then plug the micro HDMI cable into your A6400, and by the way, this works with any modern Sony or other brand cameras as long as they can output a clean HDMI signal. If you want to use FaceTime, go to FaceTime, and it's going to automatically show you the onboard camera. So now we're going to change it. We're going to go to video, we're going to go to USB camera, and you can see how that changes that. and then we're gonna go to USB digital audio. Now this is going to be where this is going to change depending on how you are recording and what kind of devices you have attached. I like the idea of connecting the Rode VideoMic NTG to this camera. So there you have two options. You can connect to the camera directly, or you can connect that directly to your laptop. Either way, just choose accordingly. I think the sound quality is going to vary depending on the location and what you're doing with it. So, you know, but anyways, that's how you change that. You change that by going to video and then making the selections here. Similarly, if you want to use Skype, you go to Skype. Then up here, you're gonna go to Skype again. Then audio and video settings. Then you can see that this is using the onboard camera again. So right here next to camera, we're gonna go and we're gonna switch from FaceTime HD camera to USB camera. And you can see the difference right away. Under choose background effect, I would choose none because this artificial blur looks really bad, especially if you're using a fast lens like the Sigma 16 f1.4. There's plenty background blur there. You don't need to add any more, and it looks artificial. Same thing happens with the microphone here as with FaceTime. You want to try the default device. That might be better unless you have you know, again, a VideoMic NTG attached or any other kind of mic attached that's a higher quality. The issue really becomes when there are delay issues. If you're recording video, that seems to be a problem. When I am talking to folks on either one of these services, it doesn't seem to be a problem at all. The delays, it's fine. There is no delay, I guess is what I'm saying. So just choose whatever audio selection that makes more sense to you, and also the one that gives you the less headache. But either way, this is how you do that. You go into these settings, and that's how you change Skype. Other apps should work similarly. You just go into preferences, choose your camera, choose your mic. It's all very plug and play, which is one of the biggest selling points of this video capture card. It's just easy to use, unlike the software that sometimes doesn't work at all. Despite all my well-written, perfectly timed, and expertly delivered pawns, this device works really well. Yeah, it doesn't have 4K, and I know some people are going to be needing that. But for the rest of us, just using it for video conferencing calls, this is more than enough. You can still use this device for video game recording. You're just gonna get a 1080p signal. But when you consider the cost of the CamLink Elgato and how it is almost impossible to get one shipped to you in any reasonable time, this becomes, let's say, a practical, wonderful choice. Well, this is going to be it for me today. I am Andre Correa, and this is Andre Correa Now, and I will see you next time.